broadcasting live from the Norman P. Murray Community Center in beautiful Mission Viejo. It's Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, featuring British jazz guitarist Chris Standring.
Welcome to Breakfast. Isn't it No Nukes Weekend?
No.
I think it is. Welcome to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, everybody. We're very glad you're here. Is there any Tommy Bahama cake left? I'm thinking probably not. I don't know.
It was good though, huh? Yeah? Good?
Yeah.
We gave you breakfast.
See, can we suck up to the audience or what? You know, I'm telling you. We are very excited to have this guy here. This is a guy who has done the Bash many times.
Right.
I'm sure you've attended the Bash and have seen him. His last CD, Blue Bolero, was a brilliant piece of work.
Amazing.
Brilliant piece of work.
Very romantic too.
It was
Very.
really different. He also put out a terrific Christmas CD this past year that I hope you got to hear and enjoy. I know we were playing it, and he's got a new piece of work that actually doesn't hit the streets until March 20th.
But we have
unless you happen to be here in our
Exactly.
audience, because he's brought some with him that you can pick up after the show. But in the meantime, we've got an hour, so please welcome Chris Standring.
I think it's disgusting, really and
What do you think, huh? Chris Standring.
That's Chris Standring, everybody. Great job.
Very nice. Very nice.
We're going to take a break. We've got it all hour long. Stick around. Chris
Don't
Standring
go
on
away.
Breakfast with
Stay
Gary
right
and
there.
Kelly. Great job, baby. Thank you. Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly with our guest, Chris Standring. Chris.
Wow.
Nice.
Gary, it's
Thanks
lovely.
for being here.
Yeah, well,
this is
it's my
ridiculous.
pleasure.
This is far more dressed up than you and I have ever seen each other before. The world is coming.
This is a serious event.
He says.
Come on now.
Exactly. So did you see that you got kicked out of your green room because
Yes.
it was a guitar class, and then
Right.
the students just busted in, so they're.
Are they mad?
I mean, it worked out great today.
For me?
Yeah. Well, for that's
Well, I
not
thought
my
Those poor guys, what are they going to do?
I think they came to watch.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
Exactly
to
right.
All right.
take lessons from the master.
All right. Well,
This guy is
Pretty good,
just
huh?
back. You were just back a couple days ago from. Where were you? Indonesia? You did the lap around the whole globe.
Jakarta,
I
or-
Do you have
actually,
any idea what time it is?
I have no idea. I'm on some,
Do you know where you are?
some other planet. But it was interesting. I actually went literally right around the world in order to play 2 cities.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I played 3 shows in London and then 3 shows in Jakarta, Indonesia. But
Jakarta.
in order to do that route, I had to go from Los Angeles to Heathrow, London, to Abu Dhabi, to Jakarta, to Taiwan, back to LA. So
Wow.
within 8 days, it's like.
Do you
so
get air miles for that?
I better.
Yeah, I would hope. I would
So
hope.
yeah, I've been right around there. Amazing.
You know,
Wow.
doesn't he sound like James Bond?
He looks
James-
like James
James-
Bond.
James
black.
Bond. Who's James Bond?
I know, yeah.
I need-
Cleveland.
You got to get those
James
glasses.
Bond, my
you
dear
want-
fellow.
Yeah, sorry. Well,
James
the
Bond.
Cleveland, you can take the guy out of Cleveland, but
That's
you
right.
can't take Cleveland out of the guy. Congratulations on the new CD, man.
Yeah.
It sounds
Well,
so good. It
thank
sounds
you very
so
much.
good.
Thank you.
This is the whole thing with you and strings now. This is kind of coming, it's really coming back home, isn't it?
I'm the new Mantovani.
We
Okay.
needed one.
Yeah.
The old one
It's
is very
time.
tired.
Exactly. That's what I
right.
figured. Yeah.
Exactly. No, this is a real deal, though. I mean, different. You know, the last Blue Bolero, this
Yeah.
thing, but this is where you have come from.
Started, actually, right?
You mean the classical thing?
Yeah.
I definitely have a classical background. I ignored it for many years. And I just coming out, you know, I mean, you know, you sort of go through these changes because you're searching for something new, and I just dug a little deeper than I've ever done. I mean, that's pretty good for a shallow man, I can tell you that. Yeah. I like it. I feel like I'm in it up to my ankles here.
No.
Tell me about the days with the BBC orchestra and that stuff.
How did that-
With the BBC, I said orchestra. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's even true.
Well, it sounds much more majestic than it actually is. I mean,
that
there was,
right?
I mean, it was kind of a cool thing back in the 1940s or whatever it was. Is this going to stay on? Does it
Possibly.
look like it's going to stay on?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I sort of, there were 2 radio stations that would broadcast local bands.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of muscled my way in, and they booked me to do these shows where I would literally just have this vehicle to write and arrange any music I wanted.
really.
And I would hire like a sort of a 5-6-piece brass section and a rhythm section and 5 singers sometimes, and there'd be this huge thing going on at the BBC's expense. I mean, I was literally just learning how to write and arrange and compose.
How did you get that job?
I don't know. I was doing some gigs, and somebody said, you know, you should send in a tape, and perhaps
No.
I'll book
Yeah.
you. So they did. I ended up doing about 20 of them, you know, and it all worked out quite well.
What a great learning experience
Oh,
it had to be.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What did they say when they called you after you sent the tape in? I mean, obviously there was a phone call that says, "Hi, this is Dan."
Hello.
Hello.
I have no idea
Chris
what
there.
it was, and it certainly wasn't an email back then. I can tell you
No.
that.
Oh, that had to be me. So how long were you doing that?
Off and on for about 6 or 7 years. I mean, I probably did 2 or 3 a year. You know.
Yeah.
Did you know you were going to do this as a child? I mean, did you grow up? Did your parents sit there and say?
Well, that's an interesting question because I actually had toy guitars from the age of 2.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was one of the first words I learned. Apart from "mind that cowpat." Apparently, I know it's very,
Which is still good advice to
very,
this
very
day.
strange. It was guitar preceded by "mind that cowpat," and that's
I
actually
heard
not.
several people in the audience this morning say that. Mind that cow pad.
You see, the thing is, I grew up on a farm,
Ah.
and for the longest time, my parents were really worried that I wouldn't speak. I was just very, sort of introspective and did nothing. And all of a sudden, we went for a walk, and I said, "Mind that cowpat." And so my parents were very happy. Said, "Well, okay.
Okay.
At least we know he can talk."
You ought to name a song that.
Yeah,
Really?
I think not. Anyway, after that, it was.
Okay.
Anyway, to get back to your original question.
Yes.
Then I had sort of toy guitars for
Right.
my birthdays until I was actually big enough to hold a half-size classical guitar. And I was about 6 years old, and
Yeah.
that was a landmark for me, because
I'm sure.
I was off to the races.
Did you teach yourself, or did you take?
No, I had lessons from that time, from
Okay.
age 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did your folks play anything?
Nothing to speak. I mean, they did, but not seriously.
Yeah.
My dad would tinker at the piano, and my mother played the harp a little and some
Ooh.
piano.
Really?
My elder brother played a little flute, but it was never that serious. I seem to be the only mental case in the family that did anything about it.
When did you start getting serious about it? I mean, obviously, 6 years old, getting the guitar lessons and everything.
Well, I knew when I was 16 years old. I was in boarding school in England, and everybody was talking. We would go to these careers classes, and I remember the careers teacher pointed to me and said, "You're going to go into the hotel business."
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, do you know me at all? Have you got any idea what classes I'm missing because I'm practicing the guitar? So he got that a little wrong, and I don't know. I mean, at age 16, I think at that point I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was really getting quite obsessed with music. I mean, particularly rock and roll. I was sort of
For sure.
learning Simon and Garfunkel songs at the time.
Who were you listening to? What were your?
Who was I listening to at the time? Jeff Beck had just come out with
Yeah.
Blow by Blow, and
Yeah.
I mean, what
Yeah.
is this? I don't know what this is. It's
And how is he doing that?
and
He's
how's
still-
he doing
yeah.
it? Yeah, and I'm still actually saying, how are you
No
doing that?
doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt.
So I think that was there was a Dutch guitar player before that called Jan Akkerman. He was in a band called Focus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember Hocus Pocus?
Hocus, I sure do.
yeah.
I sure do.
And that had a tremendous effect on me. There was an album called Moving Waves, and it was the most self-indulgent sort of Moon and the Stars, record that I just loved because it was so experimental. They were just going off on this sort of...
What was it? That had to be like 1970 or something?
That had to be like
Something that?
73, 74.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great
So,
band.
I don't know, I had this sort of progressive rock background, stroke classical music. And then I heard Me and Mrs. Jones on the radio, on my little transistor radio. So, there was a mishmash of stuff going on in
Yeah.
England that that you probably wouldn't have heard being an American citizen, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We were sort of exposed to very different things. Well, I certainly was.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Music in the 70s here in America was pretty good, I think.
Oh,
We had a
yeah.
pretty good
Oh, yeah,
70s
sure.
roll.
I would agree.
I'm sure we got a lot of it, too.
We had a lot of
Yeah.
rock, like Led Zeppelin and
Yeah.
Pink Floyd and Aerosmith and all those bands came out.
Yeah. Of course, they were definitely over in England too. I was never really drawn to that music, though. I was drawn to something somewhat classical, somewhat jazzy,
Yeah.
but not really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get it.
I think the most classical we had was probably Jethro Tull because he came from
Yeah,
an opera
that's right.
background.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
You did theatrical stuff on London's West End too. Was this kind of the same time the BBC gig was going on?
Yeah, it was around the same time. I mean, I had left music college.
Guitar for hire, huh?
I was guitar for hire, yeah, and I was sort of doing everything I possibly could. And one of the things to do was these BBC sessions.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to do was these, there's a big West End show scene in London, and I always vowed that I never really wanted to get into that in a big way, because I thought, the people that are doing this, they're all married with families, they've got heavy mortgages and cars to pay for, and they're locked in. They've been doing a show for 10 years, and I thought, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But I need to work. So I was the guy who was always known to be quite a good reader, sight reader. And so I would be the guy that they called when they needed somebody who couldn't do a Saturday night show because he was either sick or took on a better gig, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did enough of them, and it was great experience following conductors and all that kind of thing. Yeah. But I did as much as I wanted to do before I had these massive aspirations of coming here.
Yeah, you talk about that whole decision to come out here. It was, what year was that when you moved to?
Well, I moved here in February '91, but I had come here 10 years before, just as not even a reconnaissance trip.
Just vacation or something?
I was bumming around America, so I didn't have to study at school anymore. Yeah, and I've got a million stories of that year, but we need another show, I think. So it got under my skin. I came to Los Angeles by way of New Orleans and across. Yeah.
Nice.
So it got under my skin, and eventually I came back, because that's what you do.
Did you have contacts here, or what?
I
mean, that
kind
had
of
to be
did.
kind of scary, huh?
I kind of did. I had to resurrect those contacts over the years. But they're actually still good friends now, strangely enough.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So you did when you first came out here. You did a lot of session work.
I wouldn't say a lot, but I did some. I think I was quite hell-bent on doing this jazz thing. And, as soon as I could, I got into, other people's bands and started touring. As I said, I moved out here, and if I could get a session, I would get one. If I could play on somebody's record, fantastic. It was, you just hunt around and you do what you can until things kick in a little,
Yeah.
When did it kick in for you?
I'm still waiting, actually.
Not. No.
I think it's kicked in to like 10 minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah, that was the coffee. That was the coffee.
Was there a time when you sat, because like your first CD that you produced?
I can absolutely pinpoint a time when things took on a different trajectory. I was good friends with this French guitar player that you might know called Marc-Antoine.
Indeed.
And I was actually really good friends with him before he had sort of hit the big time. And he was a dude that I knew in North Hollywood with a bunch of friends, and we would just get together on Saturday night and watch a movie and eat something. And I had no idea that he had any talent at all at the time, to tell you the truth. We would just hang out, you know what I mean?
Funny.
And we had lots of friends in common. And one day he said, Chris, I think I've got a record deal with this New York record company. And he said, would you like to hear my stuff? So I went in his bedroom, and he had this little cassette player, and he played it to me. And I was absolutely knocked out. I had no idea,
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and he very quickly got signed. In fact, he was literally, I don't know whether I'm supposed to say this on TV, but he was literally about to give up and go back to France, and then he got this record deal, and when he went like this. And then a few days later, he called me up and said, Chris, would you like to strum for me? I'm going to do some gigs. And I thought, well, what does that really mean?
Strum.
However, the answer is yes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So I started doing some gigs with Mark, and then he started working a lot, and then there was this tour that came about called the Guitars and Saxes Tour, which was 1998, I think it was. Could have been 96 or 7, I can't remember. Anyway, Mark was one of the artists, and I remember the other three. It was Rick Braun, Kurt Whalum, Mark, and Peter White.
Wow.
And they all became very good friends of mine, so I instantly landed myself in this smooth jazz circle, without even trying.
In the inner
And-
circle.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
inner circle, yeah. But I was still sort of outer because I was in the band backing them all. You know what I
Sure.
mean? I was just a guitar player strumming for these people. So after that, Rick Braun and I became very, very good friends, and he asked me to join his band. So I then went on to played in Rick's band, and much later joined Richard Elliott's band, and got fired from all of them, as you do. You know. But
Because that's the law.
that's the law, you know.
Yeah.
But by that time, I'd sort of got my own career off to the races. I'd got myself a record deal with Instinct Records in New York, and had some success, and it's just sort of slowly but surely done this, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're glad
And
it
here I am.
has.
Yes.
We're glad it
The
has.
rest is a mystery.
Yeah, exactly. we're visiting with Chris Standring. We're going to take a quick break and come back, and Chris is going to do a couple of tunes for us here
Yes.
live. So stick around at Breakfast with Gary and Kelly.
Wow.
Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly. We are visiting with our pal Chris Standring, who is going to
Amazing stories.
going to do a little live something for us here.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe the number one song right now.
Perhaps the number one song.
Why not? Chris
Yay.
Standring, everybody.
This is called Oliver's Twist. This is called All That Glitters of the new record. you.
Standring, everybody. We're going to take a break, come back to that more. Chris, stick around here on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly. Great stuff, man. Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, where I thought he was going to be trapped back there for the rest of the show. That was great stuff. We're visiting with Chris Standring. I love that tune, man.
Well, thank you.
I love that tune.
Thank you.
Blue Bolero, I mean, were you surprised at the success of that?
Yes, I thought I was going to sell 5 copies to my family until my family insisted that I give them copies. So I thought I thought that there would be no audience. But luckily, people responded to it and they liked it. I mean, I really did that record for me. I thought, I've got to put this out.
Yeah.
And people liked it, which just goes to show if you dig a little deeper and do something as honest as you can, people actually do respond to it.
Yeah, there really is a good message in that somewhere,
Well, it worked for me.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name Electric Wonderland? Just
Well, the record came out a little dreamy. When I say dreamy, I mean I've just played you a track from this record.
Beautiful,
So it's
beautiful.
all very sort of ethereal. And I was going to call the album Dreamland until I did my little Googling, and there's a million albums called Dreamland. So I thought, that's
Okay.
not going to be the case.
I think the Muppets did a Dreamland. Not that.
Well, you've totally reassured me now. Thank you very much for that. I've returned to the electric guitar. It's I've been playing an archtop jazz guitar for many years, and I haven't abandoned it. But for this record, I just got a little sort of, I guess, a little bit disenchanted with the sound and the tone and the fact that you have to attack it so hard. So I wanted to return to my roots a little bit, and playing the electric guitar is like coming home to me, And so I wanted to reflect that in the title. So there's a dreaminess and an electricness.
And a wonderness.
And a wonderness.
There
Yeah,
you go.
see?
Are you one of those guys that has a whole big collection of guitars? But
I'm
you
not.
can't play?
No, I have workhorses.
Yeah.
So I have a few guitars that I've played forever.
Yeah.
And a few guitars that never get played. But, that's probably the reason I don't collect them, because I think, why? They're not going to get played, so.
You're playing some ukulele on that. Well, it's not really a ukulele. What is it?
It's actually called a guitar lele.
A guitar lele.
Yeah.
Guitar
Yeah, actually, there's a funny story. I have, if you're interested to hear a funny
By
story.
all
Yes,
means,
of
by all means.
course.
I had serious writer's block right in the middle of this album. And I thought, what am I going to do? I'm on a deadline here. I've got 5 tracks done, and I haven't written a note for 6 months, And I'm not the only artist that goes through that.
course.
Everybody goes through it. We think, well, that's it.
Right.
That's it. I'm done. Right? And I'm very good friends with a hypnotist called Paul McKenna, who I'm sure you've heard of. If you haven't, he's actually very, very well known in England. And I saw him one time, and he said, "Chris, how's the record going?" And I said, I'm totally stuck. And he said, "I think I can help you." So he said, "Come up to my house, we'll have a cup of tea, and I'll see if I can hypnotize you into,
Really?
And apparently he'd done this to several very, very well-known people, which I'm not allowed to mention. But,
We won't tell.
no, well,
Oh, he won't say
and neither will I. So anyway, I went up there, he put me in this imaginative, I mean, I was a little bit sort of skeptical because I thought
Right.
I couldn't be hypnotized, and I don't even know if I was, but I went along with it,
Yeah.
And he said to me, "So what are you feeling with this new song you're about to write?"
Oh,
And I said, "Well, I sort of hear a ukulele."
ukulele.
And he said, "Fantastic." So anyway, at the end of the session, I went straight to Guitar Center, and I bought this little half-size, what is it? It's called a guitar lele, but it's like this big. It sounds just like a ukulele, but it's not a ukulele.
The difference being this one has 6.
This one has 6 strings, so you play it just like a guitar, so you don't have to rethink anything.
Yeah.
And I went straight home and I wrote this song. The song's called Castle in the Sky. It's actually on that record.
Yeah.
And so I'm very thankful to Paul. I actually gave him a little thank you on this record.
Wow.
And I'm thanking him now on TV, so,
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that enough for you?
Guitar
There you go.
Yeah, bless him. He did a fantastic job. Now, I mean, the problem is I didn't write another song for 3 months.
No.
Really?
But after that, they all sort of flowed, so it was fine.
Oh,
Anyway, we got a good one.
Yeah.
We got a good
absolutely.
one. So.
George Harrison was a big ukulele
Was he?
guy.
That's right, he was.
Oh,
wasn't he?
yeah.
So was Tiny
I've
Tim.
heard-
Yeah.
Well, boy, there's really the same musical family if they're ever. No, I think Harrison
just
used to
saying.
drive around seriously. I think he kept a bunch of them in his trunk and would. hand
Wouldn't
them out
surprise
to
me.
people.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Fun little
interesting
instrument.
stuff.
Yeah.
Did you take the strings with you? Are you doing that in the show?
In London, I had a string quartet, yeah, but I have a local one. I mean, in London,
Yeah.
you've got all these wonderful symphony players, so I hired some people there. Wherever I go, I mean, in Seattle, I hired a local Seattle symphony string quartet. I didn't get to have one in Jakarta.
There's no
I have
string
one
quartet
here.
there?
Well, there is, but the whole thing was such a huge deal that
That is
it
a
was,
huge deal.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
it was too difficult to do.
That was your first time.
My
playing
first
with that,
time,
right?
yeah.
The music community over there is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. The amount of really young people that absolutely love this music is staggering. I mean, it's very reassuring actually, because it's right across the board now.
Yeah.
Over there. So it's nice. I mean, they just eat it up. Stevie Wonder was there. Pat Metheny was there. Herbie
Wow.
Hancock was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's running with the big dogs, huh?
That's the
Well,
way.
I was just too shy to say hello to any of them.
Really?
A little bit.
Aw.
I don't blame you. Who are the guys? Are there people that you hear play that you go, I don't know how they do that?
Yeah, all those guys I've mentioned.
No, I would think Metheny is crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of staggering players that make me go, oh God, I just need to practice. And I have been a little bit this year, but I need to do more.
Yeah. Was Beck, other people besides, you mentioned Jeff Beck, people that really got you excited about playing the instrument? Was there anybody in particular? Or was he it?
No. There was many players, but I have this obsessive nature, and once I glom onto something, I tend to sort of stick at it for a long time. So Jeff Beck lasted a number of years. I then went through my sort of West Coast guitar player education, which was, Steve Lukather and Larry Carlton and Lee Ritenour and Robin Ford and Howard Roberts and all these people. Wes Montgomery came a little bit later. I got into real jazz after that time, so it wasn't really until I went to music college in the 80s in London where I was exposed to a lot of horn players who were playing jazz. Mm-hmm. And we all ended up playing in this big band called the National Youth Jazz Orchestra. And I was instantly exposed to all this proper jazz, and I thought, I mean, for years I was listening to the right stuff, but clearly I was not, They'd reassured me that, no, this is the real stuff.
Yeah.
So a very purist attitude, and it was good for me at the time. And so I got into people like Pat Martino and Wes Montgomery and George Benson.
Yeah.
I mean, who they're just staggering players. And
And
and piano players like I listened to Miles Davis, the sort of his 50s period with milestones, and piano players like Red Garland and Wynton Kelly, and Keith Jarrett later on, and Lyle Mays, of course. Mm-hmm. So just all the good guys that everybody listens to.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's got to be, and I think I've said this to a couple other folks in the past, but playing with a big band like that has got to be just a powerful feeling when you're up at it. I mean, it's got to be just amazing to be part of that big sound.
It's difficult for guitar because you've got to compete, and it's not really a jazz guitar world. It's a horn player's world.
Well, that's
So,
true.
yeah, but I mean, fabulous.
But it can be
fabulous education. I mean, I remember when I auditioned for the National Youth Jazz Orchestra. I thought I'm going to get this gig. It's going to, this is going to be the next thing. And
How old?
I was probably 20, 23, 24, something like that. And I sat down. I took my guitar out of the case, put it on my knee. And I opened the music, and the guy counted off, and he went 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I couldn't follow the bars, let alone read what was in it. Literally, so I was just like this. At the end of the song, I put my guitar down, put it back in the case, left the rehearsal, and said, I'm going to give this 1 year. and I'm going to go and practice. I'm going to take out all sorts of music from the library. I'm going to practice every day, and I'm going to get that gig a year later. And I needed a year. And I actually did. I went back and I sort of scrounged the gig a little bit. But it was, that was a lesson. I mean, I went home almost in tears because I thought,
I'll bet.
how could I ever be this good?
Man. You teaching? Do you still have the web presence of the?
Yeah, I do online teaching. I don't actually do private.
Skyping?
No, I sort of do these home study guitar courses, and they're download versions as well. So it's an online thing,
It'd be
really.
interesting to do a little Skyping, you know.
Yeah, I haven't thought to do that. It seems a bit scary. Yeah, I'll think about that, Kelly.
Oh man, yeah. We're going to take another break and come back, and Chris is going to play for us once again. We're looking forward to it. So stick around here on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly. Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly with our very distinguished. I really had this urge all morning to go, oh, there you are, 007. Yes. You know, I don't know why.
I love the way he talks.
I do too. It's, you know, you could read the phone book and it would sound classy. You know what I'm saying?
God, if only.
Very nice. This has been a very fast morning. I love this new CD, and I just wish you the best of success. Mm-hmm. He's got a CD release party, by the way, on April 24th at Spaghettini's with the strings.
Yes, so
he'll have the strings with him.
Make your reservations.
Exactly right.
April 24th.
But we're gonna get another song out of him first.
Yeah.
What are we gonna hear?
We're going to hear Love and Paragraphs because it's a fun one.
Yes, it is. Chris Standring, everybody. Great stuff, man. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 1 month with Brent Adams.
Yeah, don't forget you can pick up your CD today as well as your bash tickets, so don't leave without them.
We'll catch you next time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you
Breakfast
for
with Gary and
coming.
Kelly.